Okay, this is going to be a review for Tuesday, the 27th of May. As you can see, total profit was 83 from today. However, I found a lot of good trades today, but I started the day off at roughly plus 130 from an overnight short on gold. And then my PNL went back to 0 and then back up to 83. So I obviously made quite a few mistakes in the morning and then managed to recover a fair bit. But I just wanted to go over a few trades and especially my executions and what led to the PNL I ended up with. So firstly, I'll indicate roughly what the trades were that I took over here, and then I'll go over the PNL on MT5 and work out exactly where that went. And then after that, I'll do a more in-depth breakdown of the best trades. So the first one that really stands out is this trade here. So we had a sell-off on Monday, a really nice sell-off, which I also caught on Monday night, that is. In fact, I can even look at that because this is technically the first trade where we had this rally going into the close after just placing through this low, hitting premium internal range, and then we broke low real nicely there. And I shorted in here, recognizing that this was really heavy. There's no reason to retrace, and the trap belongs from down here, trusting we should take out all these move lows. So that was a short. I didn't get in as much size as I wanted, but still a nice trade. Then we had in this area here, there was actually, so this I did try and short this. No real trade there at all, just thinking, oh, maybe it keeps on going. And so I shorted, so that was a silly trade. We then had SMT on these highs. I decided that despite there being SMT on these highs and this hitting buy side, I decided to go long right there, going into the open. Didn't work out. Ignoring the fact that there was clear SMT on the highs, no SMT on the lows, and also that it was going into 927 that we should started dropping. So the reason why I went long there is because my bias was that we'd run out the previous day high and then short into sell side. So when we didn't do that initially, I was still long biased. I tried another long down here. I tried a super long, they got taken out. And then I didn't try again until I saw this. Really nice 1 minute SMT on the lows at 937 as we souped below this old low, which has made a lot of sense for me. Old low, super below that, SMT on the lows, and began running up high, offering some really nice entries on the way up. And then this is probably where I lost the most money, is just trying to short this, because my idea was that we would, my idea is that we would come up, soup out this old previous day high, and I want to see some SMT up here, and then sell off and target the trailed stops likely below this low. Because we're having a gap up for the regular trading hour session as well, as marked out by this green box, really large gap up. So I wanted to play the trailed stops model, which is where after a gap up, I look for us to engineer a low, entice away, and then target that low. Which didn't play out today, so that's fine. But yeah, I was looking for shorts. I kind of knew that like the first time we paused on such a strong move up, like it probably won't just fade off, but I tried multiple times through here and that probably hurt a fair bit. Then eventually coming back in the PM session, I looked at the charts around this area here, just as we're going to 1550. It was relatively impulsive jumping into this trade, but it did make a lot of sense. Held at a discount below the 1500 price, taking out all the sell side. There's SMT on the lows. We souped below the 420s. We had all these smooth highs, had been really slow grinding lower all PM session, and I could tell that we were respecting this fair value gap. So it made sense for a long. However, I'll go over the PNL in a second, but I believe I made less than 1 hour on this trade, which doesn't make any sense, but I'll go over that as well. Looking across at gold, the trades that we'll be going over later is this short from up here with a stop there, and I think I closed the last part of the position roughly there. But a really nice short. And then from today, I'm caught. I'll go over, yeah, what I was looking at in my bias, and this long, which was very logical. However, by the time I was actually getting on board, we were ending that long as we hit this premium internal range, sold off, and then I recognized that we're taking out this nice sell side, got near the midpoint between these two pools, and began to reverse strongly. So I trusted that long, caught that really nicely up, waited for a super deep discount, midpoint of this M15 wick, and also the new opening gap down here, got long again, rode that all the way up to here, to the midpoint between these two pools. So that trade worked out really nicely as well, and you'll be going over that later. First of all, I'll start with the gold trades. And I'll close that. So this is that overnight short. Essentially, you've got the midnight price sitting up here, and then this is a public holiday, but we were clearly going for premium internal range, which is around about here. Eating our way into premium internal, I like to look at this fair value gap, and we had some old red vertical lows here as well. And on the 15-minute chart, I believe there is actually a CSD, a bearish candle CSD, which we ran into really nicely, and I was aware of that. And so rather than putting my stop above this high, which is tempted to, I'll put it up here, which was a good move because I believe it doesn't look like we did hit it here, but we might have. I felt I got put in there after we kept open. It only filled me up all the way up there, and then added to the position. Felt like I shouldn't have added quite so much, and so took one off back at break even. Didn't feel very comfortable with this rally up, but I just trusted that, okay, well, I put my stop up there for a reason, which is really good. That I just remembered that that's why the stop is up there. It's because that is invalidation, not down here. And then, yeah, sold off really nicely. Only took one partial down here. And when I looked back at the charts, we're all the way back up here. So, it'd already been up a good $100, and then it had come all the way back to break even. However, I didn't panic. I just recognized that, okay, well, this high should not get taken out now because this is a clear intermediate term high. So I can narrow my risk from there down to there. And then I just went back to sleep, left it with take profits at reasonable locations such as this inversion, that below the sell side and the steep discount RL, which is where that was all the time, and I just missed it. Deep discount internal range below this low, and then my ultimate target, which was just this low down here, and a bit below that. So yeah, filled really nicely. That if I scroll up, you can see what that made me. So there's essentially all of these trades from there, from there up to the high. Calculated earlier, it becomes to roughly 130, I believe, roughly. So yeah, there was a really good start to the day there. And then on Nasdaq, I made a $5 trade, which we'll go over. That I might as well do it in order. So at that same time, I was in Nasdaq and caught this short here. So I'd been short the previous day. This is Monday. Been short. Tried adding to the short. However, it came and stopped me out. And then following that, after the 1800 open, we just placed low. I could tell it was looking really heavy. I had a split second to get in there, which I did. And then I wanted to get the rest of my position in just above it, about there. I had some limit orders. They didn't get filled until over here. So I kept a fairly tight TP on this particular position, and that just got smacked. Left these positions in overnight because I imagined it might run up like that, then sell off. But we did the opposite. I wasn't there to change it, so that took a loss. and we can look at PNL and see that that was the negative $15 that we see here with these two positions. So had I been watching the charts more, I could have avoided that. Also, had I put on more size right here, that would have been good. But the issue with this section is I wasn't really looking at the charts. I wasn't super dialed in. It was more that I looked at the chart when we were here and I just split second go, oh, this looks good. I'm going to get in. Yes, it looks good, but really I want to be looking at the chart a little bit beforehand. Like I shouldn't because this happened multiple times today. I found a really, really nice looking trade. I was able to execute it, but only last second I saw it. I didn't have enough time to build conviction around it or to be prepared to enter. So, like literally, as this candle was up there, I just smacked the sell button as fast as I could, and as soon as I did that, it started selling off, and I didn't have time to add anything else on at that price. And although it made a lot of logical sense, I didn't have any time to build true conviction in that trade, or to add in this area. So, yeah, I need to. I want to be able to look at the charts more. Look at the charts so that I can build conviction on trades. Like if I was watching around here and I had an anticipation that we might break down, and if we do, this could potentially not want to come back into this area. Then when it did happen, then I'd be able to just jump in. But if I'm only looking at the charts at that exact moment that the entry is present, then that's making it difficult. So yeah, that was an avoidable loss of negative 15. But I should write this down somewhere. Let me see, I'll just use this. I don't know if it's happening here. So, do the NQ short overnight negative 15. I'll just try and add up where the losses came from. So back across the gold. Now zooming into this area in here. So I'll just zoom out like that. And at the 1 minute chart. So in this area, what I was looking at, this really obvious London low, big rally. We then drop below it, and I liked how we were leaving this section unfilled and was looking really heavy and then just dropping into this low multiple times. And I really like that. I like the fact we'd had one drive here, a second drive here, so we still hadn't had three drives below this low. And I liked how we're looking heavy with this being dropping like that. We did have smooth highs up there, and that's the one thing I wasn't as sure about. But I thought, well, technically the draw is low. Sure, we got smooth highs, but I can see that we're showing heaviness. We're below this enticing rally, which I'd anticipate to mean that we've got trapped longs, as you can see. And it's showing me it's heavy. And so I figured I'd go short just here inside this fair value gap, which worked nicely. And this was also big part of this was seeing that we'd only had 2 drives. And so I was expecting at least the third drive. It's showing heaviness, so I want to see it go low. And 7 a.m. opens just there as well. So it already rallied high and then broken lower. So I expect this to trade low. We took some partials and got stopped out. Got stopped out all the way up here as well because I left my stops in up there. And then it started dropping lower again. And so, no, I didn't. Sorry, that's wrong. Got stopped out. I saw it displace high and I thought, okay, well, we've had 3 drives now. We do have smooth highs. And it's post 7:30. So technically, if this is bullish, then the 7 a.m. low probably won't get taken out, and I can get long. So I got long, I started dropping lower, and then as you can see here, you know, second guessing everything, sticking with the bearish draw on liquidity. Think, oh, maybe I should be bearish, or maybe I should be bullish, and then eventually going for the longs and then getting stopped out all the way down here right before reverses at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. rips up, and then at this point I recognize, oh, okay, well, actually, we've had 1, 2, 3 drives now. These 2 drives technically are the same drive. It's still one movement into sell side and then pulls back. So that's something I can look out for in futures, just recognizing, when we do have 1, 2, 3 drives, that is this on the high time frame a single drive. But yeah, 3 drives into sell side, 8 a.m. begins to rally, really nice push up. Then we have 8:30 news just here. And when 8:30 news didn't do much, I thought I'd go shorts again. It starts running up, gets really close to my stop, pulls down a bit, so I mitigate a little bit. It then drops lower, and I'm like, oh sweet, this is a failure swing, like high, low, lower, high, displacement lower. So I jumped in short again. The only problem is that this was just engineering a sell side pull to come in soup. That pulled up bits, it didn't hit my stop, dropped down. I was like, sweet, this is all good. Managed to move my stop from there down to there, and then it started pulling up, so I started mitigating and then took a loss. So we'll see how much this loss cost, which was around 15, say, yeah, 1600 on this particular platform. So that was the gold win. So that would have been in here. 14, 14, 14, 20. Yes, these are all 1400. And yeah, and then 1533 is the next one. So in this area here, from here to this entry, so from there up to there, the total was negative 20, let's say negative 26 or so. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Negative 27. So negative 27, I'll say is that. So that was the XAU 7 a.m. shorts at deep discount with REH. And that was negative 27 or so. So that was probably avoidable. And then I suppose I could also count in this, because I can't just count in the reds with that particular trade if I believe that trade wasn't ideal. So that would make it so 10 less than that. So negative 17. Negative 17 all up for that one. Yeah, and then if we look at, so that's if I'd avoided that entire trade, that would have been fine. So if I'd avoided this particular trade, that's what I'm saying is if I had not traded here because we had smooth highs, we're at the low of day, it was 7 a.m., it wasn't showing anything super obvious. I could have avoided that. At the very least, when I did get a movement like that, just gone completely break even and not tried multiple times. Then we have this section here, so I'll just find the time that happened. I need to make this a bit bigger, hold up. Where the hell was the... There we go. So from this down to all this entire thing, so these top three happened at the same time roughly, and they negative. But yeah, I mean, this whole section in here, trying to go short, it still wasn't, I had zero certainty in here. So this was trying to short again. XAU shorting after 8:30 with REH above and 3 drives below London low. So these three, and then that's at 4 p.m. So it's pretty much these three were the initial attempts, and then I tried, and then the rest I covered later. So from there, all the way down to way down here to 402, you count all those up. So this is difficult. A bit more space. Okay, so pretty much all of those, except for the NASDAQ ones. Oh, that's what I should do. I should just change this. In fact, okay, this is getting complicated already. Okay, so I'll just change this to symbols, gold, and now I can find it a bit easier. So there we go. From there down to 4. So it's negative 10, 15, 16, 26, 9, negative 29, negative 35, negative 35, say negative 38 bucks up to there, negative 38 bucks, negative 38. So that was pretty costly. It was yeah, the error being that no conviction, no conviction, really smooth highs at a discount, had 3 drives into sell side at a super deep discount, and then just placed higher. If it's a long, this is the perfect place to get long, and I knew that. But I decided no, I'll just stick with the bearish strong liquidity because I didn't want to just fade the overall trend. And that ended up, yeah, costing me dearly, negative 38 bucks. So following that, we have this long, and that was based, although I did get stopped out on a little bit there, and it missed a limit entry I had done here. But what I saw is that, okay, well, it is clearly bullish. We've pulled up to here, made smooth highs. There's a clearly heaps of smooth highs up there. And this is now an M5 balanced price range. I recognize that we shouldn't be coming all the way down here. So I got long and ran it up into there. So that was around the 4:30 time period. So from these 3 positions here, so that was just a break even. And then we have plus 14 plus 7. So I then made a good $21 there on this long. I closed out the entire position, seeing that we had this really nice run higher. Or did I? Yeah, I did. And yeah, then we drop back down again. I decided that, yep, I'd suit this low. You know, it should hold this order block. It should hold this balanced price range. It didn't, and lucky for me, I did not keep on attempting. And other than this, so took me out, came back up, and thought, okay, well, if this is the low, then this is the low. And it came and took me out again. So this particular time, this was 4:47, so 4:40 into 4:50 kind of time. And we'll see how much that cost me, which this is nothing wrong with this trade really. That simply costs from there to there. So yeah, negative 16 or so dollars. So that was perfectly fine. Negative 16, trying to catch this continuation high. Still not the cleanest price action, but it's fine. And it was, very well managed risk, very small loss. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. We then took that sell side, hit that liquidity midpoint down here, and began climbing higher. I really liked that, so I jumped in long. As we're pushing higher, I would have put on even more size, but I did recognize the strength. I saw that we were pushing towards this higher, so I'm glad I got in there. Not sure how much I covered here exactly, but I'll look at the time real quick. So this was just before 5. Or just after 5, so 5:07, I think. Yeah. So 5:07, 5:07. So these two positions made me 1450 or so for those two positions, and they were both 0.2 lots. So that obviously took one partial there, then closed the rest up here. So it took like 1/4 off afterwards we got this initial movement, and then took the rest off as we hit this premium internal range. This was equilibrium around here, so I just made sure I targeted that. And then continued sideways a bunch, and so it's perfectly fine for me to get out there, ran up high, and yeah, so it made me 15. Then dropped down, and initially I had a buy limit sitting at this low. Then I recognized that we had this really large range, and if we have a huge range like this, I might as well wait for the deepest discount I can get. I identified that to be the new day opening gap and the midpoint of the M15 wick, which is roughly there. So I moved my entry down to roughly here, and they got hit beautifully. Added into it really nicely. So added as we just placed from the new day opening gap. Really nice trade this one. Rode that all the way up, and yeah, that's what finished up this day. So if we go from there, and that is the remainder of the position. So you can see I was actually profitable in here, which means I did quite badly on Nasdaq today. But yeah, from here all the way out, it's plus 18, so that would have been probably the position I end up closing the remainder up there. But yeah, really nicely traded. Even added to the position a few times. Then as soon as we got a little movement here, I took a little partial because I was a little bit uncertain in this area. But then as soon as we started pushing higher, I was able to trail stops up, had zero risk, and just let them run up to targets as I went and did a workout. So yeah, overall 157, and I would kind of like to calculate what I did make overnight, which is essentially from here to the top. I'll re-estimate it real quick. So that's roughly 40. That's roughly 51 between the two of those. So 91 plus that. Oh, my brain is really not working today. 105, 125, and then 135 bucks. So roughly 135 bucks, and then ended up with 157 bucks. So overall, I made another. I'm gonna write this down. Hold up. So first trade, XAU overnight short, plus 135. NQ 1800 short plus 5, I think it was, or something. Overnight, and then I'll do left limit in. So that's kind of a mistake. And we have the gold shorts down there. Gold shorting after 10:30. Then we have the long, which I think I calculated to be this one, I think it was. No, it wasn't, it was just before that. So -16 is the gold short. XAU, oh, long, sorry. And that must have been going into 9:30, I suppose. 15:30, 16:30. So yeah, it was just after 9:30 and it went long. So XAU, 9:30-ish long. All good trades. Just L. Just L. So that was -16. So that's perfectly fine. And then this profitable one just before is this. So it's plus 21 for the 8:30 long. XAU post 8:30 long M5 OB. Good. And took profit at the high. So plus 21. Then we have the final one, not the final one, we have these two real here quick. So that was the plus 1450. So XAU soup and reversal from look mid plus 14.5. Good trade, more size. And then final trade for gold would have been this one here, which I'm not sure what I calculated it to be. I wonder if there's a way to calculate these, like, I don't know. But I'll just estimate it again. So it wasn't these two, it was from here downwards. And I'll do big numbers first. Hold up, let's see. So 7, so that's 21, 21, 31, 41, plus 8, plus 19. 60-ish. So XAU pull back long from deep discount in dog. Waited for extreme, then added. Good. Plus 60. So that pretty much sums up gold. And then I'll jump over to NASDAQ. And I'll change this to NASDAQ. And this is going to be uglier for sure. So you can see there's one nice trade in there. But then red, -73. That would have been even more negative if I hadn't taken these trades at the close, which were actually didn't even make one R. I had about $30 of risk on and made 26 or so, 27. So barely didn't quite make an R on that trade, and yeah, I could have made more for sure. So to summarize on here, firstly we have the plus $5.57. That is this short. That could have been a lot bigger, so I'll write that here as well. We then have the Nasdaq shorts that failed up here, and that could have been avoided because I left the limit in, so that could have been avoided easily. We then had these shorts, are these longs or shorts? Oh, yeah, that was the short I took ahead of the open. That was kind of just impulsive with no real reason to it. So we can zoom out a little bit, see this. I don't know if I want to zoom in this much, that's right. So thinking it would keep on selling off heavy. I mean, it's all right, really. There's nothing terrible about this short. So I guess I could say, yeah, I'll say what it came up to, which is going to be essentially, what is this? Yeah, so that's all the way down to 46. No, 403. So that down to there is difficult. There down to there. So -3 down to the -4. So if we cancel those two out, we're left with -17, -24, -27 roughly. So -27 is the quantity, and it was a, see if we can get roughly in order. NQ is roughly 9 a.m. 9 a.m. ish. Shorting, thinking it might roll over. I don't know if I forgot how much I calculated that to be. It's -27 or 17 and 20. Yeah, -27. Might roll over. Guessing. And that was -27. So that's pretty bad already, that one there. Just for this little trade as well. And in here I kind of saw, yeah, probably shouldn't be quite this big for this particular trade. And sure enough, local fiction trade should have less size. Rallies up, we have some really obvious SMT on the highs, really fucking obvious SMT, but I wanted to see it hit this old previous day high and then go lower. We ended up going lower and then going to the old previous day high. So we started dropping lower. I didn't like the look of this particularly, but I thought, well, it's an order look. I might as well just give it a go. As soon as it dropped in here, you can see I bought. It dropped lower. I mitigated straight away. So that was at 927. And that was these three trades here. The three positions. And that was, I mitigated that loss quite nicely actually. I was risking probably closer to 20 and I only took a $10 loss. So I'll write that down. So NQ 0927 long fading long to target the PDH. Faded obvious SMT, but mitigated it nicely. So basically this one was avoidable, but I got out for a scratch. Avoidable, but could been worse. Be nice if this was a bit, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, -9. Following that, we have this, I believe there must be longs. Yeah. So at 4:30, sorry, not 4:30, at 9:30, I went long. Got stopped out at 4:31. So pretty much these three trades here, that adds up a fair bit right there. Well, my brain is really going slow today. It's like I can't do maths fast. -32, I believe, roughly. Yeah, I'll just say -32. So these three here, -32, and that was going long after taking that out, just a random soup long at the open, basically. So NQ 930 soup of low long, random soup of low long, random low long, -32. So that's already adding up a shit ton. That's a lot of size to put on a trade that I just lost on trying to go long. Everyone else is long. And now seeing this, oh, it popped up. Cool, get long. This big green candle closure at 9:30. Big green candle closure. Let's get long. That didn't work out very well, did it? And that would have been an even bigger loss had I not taken a partial on this one. So as you can see, this particular one was only -4. It's because I took a partial up here of 0.2. So it took off 40% up there. That saved me $10 there. So yeah, -32. Next up we have this one here. So the next cluster was just these 2 minutes roughly here. So going long again, another kind of random long. And then after that, we took a win, and that win was a trade that I just held on to. So this was another loss. So that's another, after getting stopped out, I took another long, and that was a loss of -10. So NQ jumps back in on another random soup. And you can tell it's random because although I did expect it to turn down here somewhere, it wasn't near that area yet. At this point, I was just buying the below this low, below this low, below this low. It wasn't until this trade here that I recognized, oh, it's probably going to turn around either at this old low or the old low down here, which it went for the lower one, it turns out. And I can show you what I mean real quick in the charts as well. But yeah, this buy here was random. And so was that one there as well. So jump back in after another random soup. -10. So a lot of these losses are trades that really don't make any sense at all. So here's where I can start taking credit for being an amazing trader. I'll quickly point out which low I was looking at. So if we go on the 15-minute chart, it'll be easiest to see. So I was looking at this low here, and then this low. We ultimately went to this lower one. However, I got involved on this higher one, so that's why my initial entry you can see is there. And then I got in again here once I saw the SMT with a really tight stop. And this is a trading style I want to do more of, is anticipating where we should turn. And once I see the turn and see the SMT, getting with more size, but rather than putting my stop all the way down here and then it being wrong and rolling over and taking me out for, a big loss, putting a stop exactly at the low that I believe is actually in place, because that's how you get these like really big winners. But yeah, so that's the five I put in there. I was sitting in a little bit of heat. I felt a little bit uncomfortable, and then I saw this SMT, and I was like, "Cool, this is it." As soon as it started running, M1 SMT, souped at that old low, exactly where I expected it to. I added a bit in. You can see I took a little bit off there, probably because I added this in there, and then I thought, no, that's a pretty shitty fill actually. Jumped out, and then the very next candle, I kind of like the strength in the low time frame, so I put it back on and held that all the way up to this premium fair value gap. Covered up there because although I knew that this was indicating it was quite strong, the fact that it reached up to this premium fair value gap, I knew that we were likely to balance that, pull back, and then rip up through it. So really good job covering up there. Bit of FOMO jumping back in though, because I kind of covered and I thought, oh, well, maybe it leaves this as a breakaway because all these wicks and stuff. So jump back in and yeah, rode that up really nicely into this buy side. This was really nice. This is equilibrium of this range from this high to this low. At EQ, I recognized this displacement through EQ, and I thought that's going to be the perfect place to get involved. As we also have the 50s there, we've got this order block with the 50s, EQ of the range as the MMXM displacement through EQ framework. That worked perfectly, and I continued covering a bit in here. Ultimately, I knew it was super bullish, but I didn't want to overstay my welcome, and I was making, back my losses quite well. And then, so that became from there up to there, I guess. 50. Yeah, so from here all the way up to here. So all this green came from this trade. Could have really held on to that. Obviously, it went up all day, but I'll calculate this up real quick, or try and do it quick. I don't know. So 6, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 23, 24, 25, 5, 29, 39, 42, 62, 62, I believe. So that one is the NQ soup at old low. Then added with SMT. And I suppose I could have added more into this one. I should have put more size in there. I don't know exactly how much I put on. There was a only 0.02. That's kind of sad. So, I mean, I could see how much the 0.02 was, probably, possibly. I can find it. There's the one with a higher price entry, probably that 184. So I made $3.80 on that trade. So I'll do 58 for this, plus 58. And then the next one is plus 4, 4, NQ, MXM, place 3Q, perfect, but way too small size. Have to treat. Oh, this is a valid trade on its own because I was adding it. I was at kind of like I was treated it like an ad. Treated like an ad, but it should be its own trade with risk. +4, very sad. So NQ should be low then added with SNT. Old beautiful. So about hold at least something because I do find that in general, if I take profits, it works out better for me because consistency comes with just consistent wins. And it's whenever I try and hold a core position, then it pulls back that I end up doing worse. So I think it is important to take, like a lot off, but I should at least be holding something and just trailing a stop. So that's what I should have done there. Trail. So yeah, +58. Then following this nice win, I think I was down to there. Yep. Then we then have this, which is at 1530 something. Find where that is. So here we go. Here comes some more losses. Beautiful. So yeah, anticipating that, we could reverse up here. Doesn't look very clean to me. I think my whole reason for this trade was, it's now 10:30, and maybe it's just the post 10:30 short. The idea being that after halfway into the hour, we won't take out the hour high, and we'll continue. That means the PO3 is in, and we should just push lower. I think the hourly open is down here, so yes, that was correct, but it was we don't take out the hour low. So it was just a incorrect, kind of low probability. I was trying to just use that framework, but it turns out it was actually a bullish PO3, which is what I missed. So I can actually rearrange these a little bit. And then we have the NASDAQ 1030. So NQ 1030 post XX short low prob. Low probability, and let's see how much that cost me. So that's from there down to the 38, I'd imagine. Yep, down to 38. So from there, I don't know if I can try and get this so it lines up a bit more nicely. There down to there comes to -10, negative 15, 12, 13, 14, 16, -13-ish. So it's like -13. So I don't have too much size on there, so it's good. So -13, low prob, small size. Negative 13. I was kind of thinking if this is it, that would be super low risk, big reward. It's just very low probability. So yeah, so I wouldn't say it's the best. It's not really the kind of trade I want to be taking. If I want to be putting on huge fucking positions with huge fucking conviction, this is not the trade I'm ever going to take. This is the kind of trades that you put on micro lots and 0.0001 lots. Like, yeah, sure, it could work, and maybe the risk reward might be worth it if it did work. But you're never going to catch anyone putting on 1,000 lots on something like this. It's just like, it's no conviction. It's like, yeah, maybe it works, but it probably won't. And, so go with your micro lots then. It's like, well, what's the fucking point? So that's a shitty trade. Gay micro lots trade. That's what it was. It was gay. I do not like gay trades. They're lame as fuck. So next up we have this one. So this cluster from there, in fact, I'll move this down again so I can see it nice and clearly. So from there down to here all occurred within 3 minutes. That will be in this section just here. What the fuck? Oh, we just opened. Where are we? Here. And then we had that one just after 1840, which is that. So that's different. There was a buy that was stopped out. That looks like a gloss as well. But yeah, from this trade here down to this one here, that was this. This was the same kind of situation. Zero SMT, kind of thing. Oh, maybe it sells off now. And it wasn't even 11:30. So yeah, no SMT. So that can go next down here. So NQ around 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Not low prob short. No SMT. SMT. Short. Low prob AF. Like last NQ trade. And actually this should really be like that. So there we go. So how much did this one cost? That was negative 17 and 20, negative 21.50, negative 21.5. Shouldn't be taking 20 trades in a day, but yeah. Then next up, we've got this one here. The problem with this trade is that, yeah, low probability. So what I saw was balanced price range. Midpoint should be respected. This low is roughly at the midpoint. It's an order block. I can go long at this order block with a stop loss below the order block. And technically it should go higher because I could tell it was bullish. The problem is that this is at 11:30. 11:30 tends to be the time that if we are going to attack some sell stops after rallying all day, it'll be right now. And then we get this big down closing candle. And I'm like, well, fuck, that was a dumb entry. It's like, this is the exact time of day where, if we're going to go lower, we're going to go lower right now. And now it's showing me this heaviness on this big down closing candle. And so I mitigated and closed out. So that's what happened there. NQ 11:30 going long. But then Then new time of day was wrong. So I mitigated. Then ran without me. So technical all goods, but conflicting analysis. Essentially, that's what it was. Could have been a cool trade, it wasn't. And that was this one here. So 40 down to this 40. So these three positions was negative $9. So it's negative 9 or negative 10. Let's make it round. That was that. Following that, this one was perfectly fine. It just wasn't quite, it just stopped me at the high of day, is whatever. But yeah, getting short at, I'll show you real quick. Expecting that this would be a short. And so in this range, so recognizing roughly 50%, this is the order block open on the 15-minute chart. This is the 15-minute order block mean threshold, so my stop loss is above that. And I entered at this swing high. So pretty good entry. Maybe the stop loss was slightly tight. Maybe not. Maybe it is actually bullish heading up to our draw up here. So yeah, so that was that. So I'll write down what that was. That was the NQ high time frame bearish OB short. Was hit above M15 bearish OBMT. And then it went lower. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. Fine trade. Nothing wrong with it, really. It's just a loss. Just an L. And that costs to execute this particular position when these three just here, so that to that 27ish, maybe 25. Negative 26, negative 26. And lastly, we have this trade. So 4 positions, and this was the gold, the Nasdaq long at the close. I saw this last second. 1550 soup's the level I was looking for. I didn't even see the SMD to be honest, but I liked where we were. Liked the PO3 with the 1500 candle. So 1500. I'll describe it real quick. I'll finish. Yeah, I like the PO3 the 15 candle. The SMT I didn't see. It was very last second, but I like the fact we're souped the 420s, and I saw all these move highs, the drop down. Could see we were likely going to pull up into that. This was stopped out because I thought, oh, maybe it drops down once more. And I thought, well, I'll stop out a bit there and then buy it back down there. I also moved my stop halfway through from here down to a bit lower because I figured I should give it more room being 1550. And I didn't quite make one R. So this is the NQ 1550 long and saw late sure about stop loss. Traders, yeah, I covered it nicely. I think I did a pretty good job with that. Plus 0.9 R. Only worth it if I was more dialed slash. And if those two -1, so it's like plus 21. In fact, that was even worse. So this is plus 21, I risk 30. So yeah, it's even worse. So plus 21, and I only made. So that is pretty bad, really. Maybe with the benefit of doubt, it's plus 0.7, but really it was really that. So observations will be that needs in time to look at trade idea and build conviction. If not, then it's small size, too small size, or don't get any good. It's not, then it's so yeah, that's the first one. Next one will be just low probability, short. So low probability trades with low conviction, but size and will never make the big bucks. These are bitch ass size and you'll take make the big bucks. Could possibly classify this in as well. Next one is just randomly buying soups for no reason. Soups. So even if I was right, so let's say I bought there and it drops down and then starts going up here, I'd probably close it out at like plus 0.6 R out of being scared, and then it rips without me. So if you don't have any framework or any clear reason to be doing something, you're just like, oh, well, I got subbed out, so maybe this is the step, we'll just buy that. That's not going to work. That's fucking stupid. Because if it did work, you'd bitch out. You'd fucking run away as soon as you got it. It's like hyena. You're like running up to a lion and then grabbing a little nip, and then as soon as you grab the nip, you run away. It's like you're risking everything for nothing. So that didn't work. This did work. Maybe I should write what actually works as well. Write it down here. So waiting for clear level slash framework and then trusting low slash in for very, very much so. Tighter stop, high conviction, more money. Then this one over here goes in the same category as the first thing I wrote down was not having enough time to look at the trade and build conviction. I saw the trade, I put it on literally as this candle opened, and then it sold off immediately. I couldn't put any more size on. If I had seen it maybe just a few minutes earlier, I could have anticipated this pull up to there and then put on more size. We did have like the 50s or something up there, and I thought, oh, maybe it will get up to there, so I did leave some limits there. Yeah, that's the same thing. Double check that I've hit everything. So on gold, that's overnight short. I did a good job with that, putting the stop loss in the right place. XAU, anticipating price to offer extreme of range and placing XAU overnight short. That worked mean as, and in the future, maybe I can get in it even more of an extreme. Maybe in future gets and that's kind of what I was looking at here as well. Like this is what I did here. This was a very extreme, like this wasn't ERL. This is the midpoint between the most discount pool and ERL. I saw the reaction. I knew this was a super fucking deep discount. I saw we were pushing higher, looking strong, and I had high conviction here. I could have put more size in for sure, but I had high conviction. We knew we'd been to an absolute fucking extreme. Like imagine if I bought up here with a stop, at the ERL, it'd be kind of ridiculous. But rather than that, waiting for an absolute fucking extreme of the range, and then for it to show me that, yep, it is going to reverse there, jumping the fuck in, that is beautiful. It rallies up. So get more comfortable waiting for a super extreme, because that's how I'm going to get. If you want to make money, it has to be. It's like that Nasdaq example. That was a beautiful example where zoom across again. overnight. Yeah, beautiful example where I saw us hit this key level. I saw the reaction, saw the 1 minute S&T. It's like, yeah, get the fuck long. Ultra tight stop loss, massive fucking reward. That's already like plus 5R or something, plus 4R probably, up to there. And if I'd held all day, it would have been a bit more, but, or at least held in through the 10 a.m. news. So, yeah, I want to get better at doing that because my style the last few months has been more, okay, I think get long this level, so use the high time frame validation, which means buy here and put a stop loss down here and just hope for the best. I think that's okay to a certain extent, but if I really want actual money, I need to be looking for these kind of trades where it hits that key level, it gets the reaction I'm expecting, I see that confluence of the SMT and the 1 minute chart, and I just fucking hammer it. That's where the money is. So, um, waiting for clear action at POI, POI, and with an that's key. High R, higher conviction. Make that bold and backgrounders as well. So yeah, that is beautiful. Anything else to note here? Shorting low day, shorting low probability with smooth highs. That didn't work really either. Trades with low conviction. Yeah, that's essentially what this is. Low probability trade with low conviction. So yeah, that pretty much sums up the entire day. So I'm going to recap it real quick and actually look through this as a whole. So first we had the gold overnight short, really nice trade, really up nicely. 1800 short. I wasn't prepared for this one. If I was prepared, I would have gone way fucking bigger and made a lot of money. But I wasn't prepared, and so basically just took a tiny little win. And then I left that limit in overnight. Didn't bother taking it off. If I'd seen that it had already sold off, I could have taken it off and then saved that. The gold shorts, not really high probability. I thought, oh, it might roll over. But we got smooth highs, but it could roll over. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't the best. So negative 17 could have avoided. And don't forget, I only need 1 or 2 trades in a day. I don't even know how many of these are, but probably like at least 12. Probably 15. So then shorting 830 with relative highs. Very low probability. I saw 3 drives below London low, really obviously. We had perfect equal highs above us, and I go short. That one was probably like the one that I did the worst on. And this is on gold. This is on gold negative 38. Let's say I just took that one loss out of gold, which is pretty obvious I shouldn't have done it. If I'd done that, and if we open up gold, there would have been another plus 38 on top of where I am. I would have had almost a $200 day if I just hadn't taken this one single ultra low probability trade with perfect equal highs. If I have low conviction and I'm like, oh, long, short, I'll stick with the bearish straw. Perfect equal highs, but and 3 drivers below limit low, but nah, I'm gonna stick with my high time frame draw. They cost me. It cost me almost $40. That's a bit dumb. Then have this long, that was the plus 21. And I took profits as we hit this premium internal range. I saw that we're slowing down. Was good. Nicely done. Nasdaq shorting, kind of just a random trade, to be honest. Negative 27. Imagine if I just didn't take that one. I didn't take that one. I'd be up heaps. If I just took out 2 random losers that did not need to be taken at all, like they're just random trades that didn't really have any conviction in, which either means that I'm going to put on big size and lose, or tiny size and make nothing or lose. So what the fuck's the point? 927 long, saw the SMT on the highs, really obvious SMT on the highs, and kind of knew that it wasn't right, but I was like, oh, I'll just give it a go. -9. I mitigated, so at least I mitigated, but didn't need to take it. Soup of low long, so trade was invalidated, so I thought, oh, maybe it's just a soup, and then I'll get in. So taking random soups and random levels, which were both of these two, so that's -42 between the two. That's what I wrote down here is revenge slash random soups. Even if it did work, you wouldn't trust it and you'd close it right away. So it lost $42 on the trades that are probably, even if they'd been perfect and it ripped, I probably would have barely made what I lost. So not worth it. Gold 930-ish long, it's perfectly fine, just an L. Also 930, maybe I should, if it isn't super obvious, wait for it to show me what it wants to do. Nasdaq soup at old low. So this was a good trade. Could have held longer. I was on Nasdaq. This one here. So yeah, could have held a runner for sure. But yeah, that was a nice trade. That was good. Plus 58. Imagine if I hadn't taken that plus 58 today. Would have been looking a lot worse. But shows how just a few trades can add up. This one here, this one should have been huge. Let's say I'd risked $30 on this trade. I probably made 1R. If I'd risked $30 on the trade, I should have made at least 2R, even if I'd closed at this high. At least 2, 3Rs. That should have been plus 60. Really. But the problem here is that I treated it as a, I've taken a partial now, re-add a little bit of cash flow trading. But really, this is a model within itself. Like, this is a model. This is a single model. So, should have done that. Suit reversal from liquidity mids. Sometimes even a bit. There you go. I should have done that earlier. So this is a good trade. Could have put on more size for that long. That was this one again. There, it's getting long. Then you take partial. So I covered that nicely as well. It was nicely done. And then the next one was down here. Really nicely executed. Really like this. A little bit uncertain here, but I held quite nicely to my targets and then let the runners do their work while I went for lunch. So plus 60, that was well earned. That was the right trade. Then Nasdaq closed 1030 short. These two were the super low probability gay micro lot trades. So that was a negative 34.50 just for that. It's kind of dumb. Then Nasdaq going long, but then having conflicting analysis because 1130, technically or usually I'd expect that to attack whoever was making money all morning, which was the shorts. So yeah, it just wasn't my trade. It just simply wasn't my trade, which is why I mitigated. It is what it is. This is one of the, if I have to narrow down to taking 2 trades in a day, this is a trade I would not be taking. Like a late session long when we've been going up all day. Even if it did work like it did today, I'm not having conviction for that anyway. So no need to do it. High time from order block short, perfectly fine trade. As I mentioned, maybe top loss is a bit tight. I don't know. I didn't think so. Like I need to put it somewhere above the mean threshold, which it was above, but I think it just was just an incorrect trade. That's fine. That's nothing wrong with that. And then 1550 long, very late. It did make sense, but I saw it last second. Like I'm I'm surprised I had enough time to put $30 of risk on, and but I couldn't put my stop loss in the right place. I didn't really know exactly what it's doing. I just knew that it looks like it's going to go up. It's 1550. Let's give it a go, and I made 0.6 R. So almost 0.7 R, but yeah, not even 1 R, and it was just saw it late. If I removed the saw late part of the equation and I knew, then I would be sure about the stop loss. I'd be making plus 2R, and it would have been worth it. And to recap this, so these are the things that did wrong, things that did right. So I need enough time to look at the trade idea and build conviction. And if not, then it's just going to be too small size, or the risk reward is going to be shit. Next one, low probability trades with low conviction. There's no fucking point. These are bitch ass size and will never make big bucks. So if it's a low probability trade and you have low conviction and you think, oh, maybe it will, maybe it won't, you're never going to make big money doing it. You're either going to blow up with big money, or you're going to make tiny, 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 tiny money if you do make anything. So there's no point. You might as well just watch it and observe and learn something. Or yeah, revenge / random soups. Even if I revenge traded the bottom tick of all time, I would only hold it for five fucking handles probably. So there's no point. It needs to be a really obvious, clear level / framework, which is what I did right. I waited for a very clear level and framework, and then I was trusting the low was in. I was like, yep, this is the level. Yep, I see the 1 minute SMT. Yes, this is a good place to go along. Let's get in. Tight stop, high conviction, massive fucking money. Next thing I did right was anticipating price will offer the extreme of the range and placing stop loss correctly. So down here, extreme of the range. And that was, that I put a tight stop. But then also on the overnight short on gold, I had, like, I entered a bit earlier, but it went all the way to the extreme of the range. But I had my stop loss in the right place, which is good. But if I'd anticipated that, in fact, I'll bring it up on the 5 minute chart. If I'd anticipated that rather than going just to here, maybe we do go all the way above this high, or we didn't go above this high, but maybe we do go a little bit higher up to that bearish order block, which is this candle right here. So that's the bearish order block I saw. Maybe we go all the way up there, and if that's a possibility, I should be watching the chart right here and ready to get the fuck in as soon as we get the spike up and it starts rejecting. So yeah, that worked really good on the overnight short, and get comfortable doing it. When this was uncomfortable, when this was super fucking green, I was a bit of drawdown from my entries, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm wrong. It's going to take this high out. But it didn't. It reversed. It's just getting that really fucking deep premium and selling off. So take advantage of that. Make the shit ton of money. And then last of all, waiting for clear reaction at point of interest with conviction and hammering of tight stop loss. That's basically the same thing as this. Big money, high R, high conviction. So waiting for that really fucking clear POI. Once we hit it, getting the fuck in, rather than putting the stop all the way down here, putting the stop right there, or even midpoint of that wick. Once we started pushing away, I knew I could put my stop loss there because the fact we just placed left this entire wick unfilled. That's showing a lot of bullishness. We also souped this long wick. So yeah, high conviction, jumping in, and yeah, just should have put some more size on this particular trade. But yeah, that essentially does my overview, my review for my executions. I would kind of like to go over the trades of the day as well. But if I do, I need a break first, but I might not. I think I kind of explained the bulk of what the trades were I took and why they were so good. Like you can see here, that second stage distribution, or reaccumulation or whatever. But second stage entry right there, really fucking clean. And yeah, I think I did a pretty good job recapping each of the individual reasoning for shorts and longs and stuff. Um, so I probably won't do another one now. One cool nuance to note is how we have this SMT here. So I'll just get rid of this. It's annoying. So yeah, we got on ES, we had making a a higher low, so showing strength in ES, and then at 1550 making a lower low. So this is reverse SMT where we have Nasdaq lower low, then making the higher low, make the reverse. So weakness in Nasdaq, strength in ES. Then the fact that ES, rather than despite having strength, it made a lower low here. That's the manipulation, and that indicates we're about to distribute. And we distributed really nicely with ES taking out the high as you'd expect with it being the stronger asset. But when you see the reverse S&T, so firstly a low low Nasdaq, but then it makes the higher low, then you know that's going from accumulation into distribution. That's a really key signature that no one teaches, no one talks about. ICT doesn't teach. Me and my mate Samuel kind of saw it and discovered it, and as far as I know, no one else seems to talk about it. But yeah, whenever you have that reversed S&T, then it's about to have a nice move. And when you see that, it's like a really good confluence. But yeah, that does for the overview. This particular account has been all over the fucking show. It's been up to 5,400, and I thought I'd passed it, but apparently you need 5,500. So I went into a business drawdown down to 5,200. Then I got up to 5,470, but I wanted to try and pass it with that one last trade, so I let that trade go back to break even, and then I lost a few more trades, and then it's been working its way down again. So if you look at the equity curve, it goes all over the place. It even dropped down to the 800 to 4,800 and something, like yesterday or something. So um, yeah, I should be doing a lot better. And as you can see, plus 157 on gold, and then do all symbols, and it's 83. So yeah, remove the mistakes. Actually start internalizing these realities that not every 20 trades a day is a good trade. And even if something might work, it doesn't mean that you're going to make money over time if you do them, especially the gay micro lot trades. Because even if they do work, you're never going to make, it's not going to make a difference to your PNL. And if they don't work, it's going to successfully wear out your mental equity. And when it doesn't work, you'll probably also be doing it with more size. So just don't take them. But yeah, that'll do.